the Moneyweb Crypto Podcast, where we discuss all things crypto related. Your host, Kieran Ryan.
BitGet, one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world, is the latest entrant to the South African market, and there's no doubt that it's going to shake up an already pretty crowded field. It brings an interesting bag of products to the local market, including a credit card linked to your crypto wallet that allows you to spend pretty much anywhere, and some mouth-watering returns on your crypto, up to 10% annually on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and between 2.2% and 15% for US dollar peg stablecoins like Tether and USDC. It's licensed by the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, the FSCA, and gives local crypto enthusiasts access to more than 800 crypto pairs. So now we have a formidable player muscling into the local market, and one no doubt that will be watched with keen interest. We're joined now by Callan Richardson, BitGet's head of growth for Africa. Hi, Callan. Thanks for joining us. Bitcoin will be a new name for most South Africans, but it is ranked amongst the top crypto exchanges in the world. Not bad, I guess, for a company that started in 2018. Tell us a little bit about the company and its origins.
Hi, Kieran. First of all, thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be here and hopefully can share a bit of an insight and an overview of the company with your viewers. So the journey started in 2018. It's been an interesting journey. I think when BitGet started out in 2018, there was a lot of players pulling out of the market. It was quite quiet. It was probably what you call a bear market. But the founders decided to forge on forward, really focused on technology, driving the business through that bear market. And we've come out on the other side stronger for it. I think, obviously, what we try to focus on was products and the technology aspect that other exchanges didn't have. We were probably one of the first exchanges to bring out copy trading, which was one of the first products we actually invented ourselves or brought to the market, which basically allowed basic crypto users to go in and copy trades of successful traders. So it kind of opened up the crypto trading world to users that might have been a little bit wary of it, not too experienced in the crypto markets, but being able to look at a number of successful traders, look at the trades that they had done, look at the success rate, basically deposit their funds and sit back and copy their trades. So since 2018, we've developed massively. We are now in 150 markets. Like you mentioned, we are regulated now in South Africa. We have a CASP license and an ODP license, which allows us to basically sell and trade derivatives and actually form those derivatives ourselves. So it's come a long way. Latin America and Europe were major focuses for the business, and then Africa over the last few years. So I'd probably say Nigeria is our biggest market, just due to the blockchain adoption and crypto adoption in the country, and then Kenya and South Africa. So we've really given it a big drive forward now in South Africa, and looking to bring the mix of products to the South African public, and hopefully we can bring a few new products which I haven't seen before, like you mentioned, the BitGet credit card.
Yeah, I wanted to delve into that. You do have some pretty unique products, credit cards linked to your crypto wallet, futures trading. Okay, that's already available through Valor. They do perpetual futures, but you're now in this market as well. So there might be some interesting arbitrage possibilities there. Tell us about some of the things South African crypto users should get excited about with BitGet.
Yeah, so I think, being an international player, we do bring a lot of knowledge and experience from the international markets, which have been tried and tested globally. We bring that to the South African user base that they might not have experienced before. So, we've heard a lot of really interesting stories about towns on the Garden Route and across South Africa, which now accept Bitcoin and, these Bitcoin-enabled stores. And I think Pick and Pay was one of them that you can spend your crypto at, especially Bitcoin. But we've had a BitGet credit card, Visa-backed credit card, for a while now, and we've brought that to South Africa. So basically, our motto is spend crypto anywhere, anytime. So that's basically linked to your crypto account. So, when you open up a BitGet account, you can apply for that credit card. It comes in two forms for our VIPs. It's a black titanium card. And then we've got a blue card for our everyday user, and it comes as a virtual card as well. So being backed by Visa, you can pretty much spend that anywhere. In your crypto account, you can actually see your balances of the cryptos that you hold. You can see the currencies that you hold as well. And then in your spot account, you can literally see your USDT balance, which is then your balance on that actual credit card. So really cool product to bring to South African market. It's not just looking at a store where you can use Bitcoin. You can use that at any store across the country, and you can use that when you travel as well. So it makes it a really global crypto card that can be essentially used anywhere. So I think that's a great product. And then I'm not sure if you saw, but over the weekend we actually just announced our rollout of X stocks as well. So we've now brought tokenized stocks to our platform as well, which is, I think, a first in South Africa. It basically is a merging of the crypto world with the traditional finance world. So we've brought probably 10 of the most exciting stocks to the actual platform. So tokenized stock, you can now go into the BitGet account and you can buy Tesla, Nvidia, MicroStrategy. There's an S&P 500 ETF in there, Circle and Apple. So I think that's quite exciting because, a lot of people in South Africa, a lot of youngsters as well, they buy Apple products. They've seen Tesla. They've seen the really exciting products out there, but it's quite hard to buy an Apple share at, over $1,000 or whatever it's going to be, 1,000 Rand, to get into some of these international markets. So, bringing tokenized stocks onto the platform basically allows you to buy those tokens at a fractional price. A platform has a $5 minimum, so you can buy a $5 piece of Tesla or a $5 piece of Apple. Or if you want to invest in an S&P 500 ETF, you can put your $5 or $10 in there. So yeah, we think it's quite an exciting product. It's a great new product to add to the crypto world because, like I said, it merges that crypto and traditional finance platform to the everyday user.
Right. So you've got a minimum there on your fractional stocks, or should I say your tokenized stocks of $5, which is what? It's about 100 Rand. Very interesting. And how quick is the settlement on that? Could like day traders use that if they spot a very good price? Can they hit the button and get settled straight away?
Yeah, well, I think this is where the tokenized stock have a slight edge on the traditional market. So you've got instant settlement, same as a crypto purchase. It's 24/7. It's not limited by borders or market opening times. So your tokenized stock can be traded immediately. It can be sold immediately. If you like the price now, you can actually purchase that. And yeah, it acts as a cryptocurrency, but reflects a real world asset. So I think that's where the game changer is actually happening now is, not having to wait for a 2-day settlement or a 3-day settlement period, having to wait for the US markets to be open or the European markets to be open to actually purchase these. And I think this is obviously the start of, what we see as the next evolution in crypto or digital assets, as I prefer to call it. And it's the real world asset tokenization. We're starting to see it now. We've seen it in other countries such as the UAE, where they've tokenized property rights and the likes. So, bringing this to the SA market now, we hope it gives people the opportunity to actually delve into those markets via a crypto platform.
Now, BitGet is also one of the largest Web3 companies in the world. That's an interesting little avenue to pursue. Explain to our listeners what is Web3 and why this matters.
Yeah, so I think in order to understand Web3, we just need to take a step back to Web2. So Web2 is what you would consider the internet in its current state. So it basically relies on centralized platforms, your Googles, your Facebooks, your Amazons, and that the traditional Web2 state of the internet is currently dominated by a number of big tech players. So without the big tech players in place, you don't really have access. Web3 is the revolution of the internet in its current form. And that basically is the intent of shifting from the centralized platform to the decentralized platform, where decentralization of the platform aims to give more decision-making powers to the actual user. So it becomes a decentralized platform. The users have a lot more security around the data that's actually held there, the decisions that are made on that platform, and you're not relying on global tech companies. So you basically own your own data. You can determine where the data is stored. You've got wallets that you can store it in. You can store it in a hot wallet. You can store it in a cold wallet from a crypto point of view. But it just gives you that distributed power and decision making, which we don't see on Web 2. So there is a blend of the two. You've obviously got centralized and decentralized in order to make a lot of this functioning happening. But the Web3 side of it is, it's been pioneered by BitGet as well. We have Web3 wallets, which kind of sit in a decentralized state. So it's an interesting time, or it's an interesting place to be, because, you're in the current situation. We've seen the data breaches and the data leaks from large global organizations. And I think people are looking at a way to have their own data and have that security and transparency. And I think that's what Web3, especially with when you start talking blockchain technology and what the blockchain represents, that becomes obviously a lot more transparent. Ownership becomes a lot more transparent. And going back to the X stocks as well that we offer, being a crypto platform and having that on the blockchain technology, your ownership from those X stocks becomes a lot more transparent. Being able to move the actual stocks becomes a lot easier as well. So you've got a combination of the Web3 and the blockchain technology, which then drives the whole evolution process in a forward motion, moving it more so on that decentralized kind of user base where users have more control of their data and their security.
Right. Tell us how you got involved in crypto. You started out in traditional finance, the banking sector. Then you made the switch to crypto. Tell us about that, your background.
Yeah, so I think I come from the typical traditional finance world, and that revolves mainly around the custody business. So custody is obviously where you actually hold your assets. So did a 9-year stint in London, 9-year stint in Dubai, and then actually moved to Standard Chartered. And whilst I was at Standard Chartered, we had a break off of the business, and one of the leaders that I reported into basically went into SC Ventures, which was basically a venture capitalist arm of Standard Chartered. And they bought Zodia Custody, which was the first digital custodian to be launched. So I've had an interest and an insight back from 2017, 2018, always been involved in crypto myself and involved in the digital asset space. And coming back to South Africa, always very interested in and believed that, especially from an African point of view, it was the way the markets were moving, and was just very, very interested to get into the crypto space, or like I say, I like to call it the digital asset space. I think the digital assets comes with a lot more credibility, and I think that's what we're moving forward from an institutional point of view. So having the opportunity to be involved with BitGet and really drive the institutional business and how we push the institutional business in Africa was a great opportunity. So I jumped on board of that, and I believe that's where the industry is going to go from. I think traditional custody will move to digital asset custody in the future, like we've just discussed now. You've got real assets being tokenized. We've seen the evolution of stable coins and how that's been used to facilitate cross-border transactions, and the amount of stable coins that are actually being traded on a day-to-day basis. And I think, it's nice to be at the forefront of that changing of the traditional finance to what we call the digital asset revolution. So great to be part of it. And that's just a bit of background of where I came from. And hopefully we'll be in this space a lot longer. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of changes whilst I'm here and whilst I'm gone.
Now, you've got some pretty high-profile brand ambassadors like Lionel Messi, and you got a few others. Is this a big part of your story, the BitGet story, and your success?
Yeah, in the beginning, I think, like I mentioned before, we were quite focused on Latin America and Europe. So having a personality like Lionel Messi come on board was great, because we're also a major sponsor of La Liga. So we're one of the main crypto partners for La Liga across Spain. So we had a lot of discussions around Lionel Messi, and I think one of the attractions and one of the synergies he had with us was obviously, during the time where you had a couple of crypto companies going under and you had a lot of issues around crypto, one of the products we have is a protection fund. So it sits at about $600 million. It's a proof of reserves. And, one of the key aspects of him joining us was, the legitimacy around what we offered. and having his name attached to that, proof of reserves, not just a fly-by-night exchange that may or may not be here in the next year or so. So that's really boosted our image. We've done a lot of brand partnerships with other sports teams. We're a sponsor of Juventus as well, and then moving locally, we started to focus our efforts on onboarding more South African teams. So we recently just did a partnership with Wynberg Boys, where we sponsored their first team rugby. We're looking at a number of others. We've run a couple of paddle leagues across South Africa, which has been really good. We've just actually signed a recent brand ambassador now, so you'll see him coming on board, a South African legend. So it's great to have that on board. But we've also got a number of initiatives. We've got an initiative called Blockchain for Youth. So we're also really pushing that, and that was part of the drive to actually get into the schoolboy rugby and the schoolboy sports, because we want to take our Blockchain for Youth initiative across the schools as well, and just give an oversight to learners that might be going to university, and just giving them an understanding of blockchain technology, how it works, how it's functioning, what the day-to-day uses of it are, and hopefully just opening up their eyes that when they do go to university, there's a lot more out there than your typical subjects that we all grew up with. You're either going to go into accountancy or you're going to become a doctor or the like. So I think also in South Africa, we're really, really privileged to have innovative cities like Cape Town, where we've got innovation hubs and we've got a number of fintechs. And, these fintechs are utilizing blockchain technology on a day-to-day basis and really pushing the boundaries. So to be able to give a bit back and to give some guys that might not have a great understanding of what they're looking to do or where they're going to take their next step, just to give a bit of an overview to say, this is another career opportunity that's out there. We've also got another initiative, which is called Blockchain for Her. Our CEO, Gracie Chan, is a female, and we do a lot with regards to backing female ventures, female startups in the fintech and crypto industry as well. So, there's a lot that we're doing in that space. So not just the brand ambassadorships and the sponsorships, but also trying to give back where we can. And hopefully that'll resonate across South Africa as we move forward. And, the more time that we're here and the more we grow this market, we'll definitely be pushing those initiatives as well.
All right. Finally, Callan, what about costs? How do you compare on trading costs to other crypto providers in South Africa? And in answering that, also touch on the tokenized stocks. What are your costs there? Just give us an idea.
Yeah, so the cost side of it, from the international platform side of it, we bring obviously the large trading volumes, and we've got a number of users on there. So we've actually been able to drive our costs down quite a lot. So where you look at it from a local point of view, I think we are significantly cheaper than a lot of the local exchanges. Withdrawal fees, deposit fees, we don't take a deposit fee. A withdrawal fee is a minimum amount. It's probably around about 20 Rand. Probably the same as a lot of the local exchanges, but we obviously, we're able to take Zara deposits because we have a crypto license or a CASP license, so we can take the Zara deposits, and you can obviously do Zara withdrawals as well. So the tiers also, it really benefits the VIPs. We've got VIP level 1 to 7 as well. Obviously, the more you trade, the higher your balances sit with us. Then obviously the rates do get further reduced. So we're also really pushing the agenda from not just a trading point of view, but an investing point of view as well. As you mentioned in the beginning, we've got some really good APR rates, especially across USDT and obviously our staking products. But we're looking to really target South Africans who might have a USD balance sitting at a local bank that might pay them 0.8 or 1%. We're looking at those kind of high net worth individuals or users to basically look at BitGet and say, oh, okay, you've got a USDT balance or product that will give me anywhere between 3 and 7%, depending on the size of that balance. Why not move it to a stable coin and hold it and actually get some yield off of that inflation hedge or, whatever, that ZAR hedge that you might be using those US dollars for. So we do have a lot of options on there, not just from a trading point of view, but from an investing point of view as well. So, hopefully it should be beneficial to your day-to-day South African user, South Africans that are looking to invest, that are looking to grow, and also just looking for an alternative investment as well.
Yeah, it is astonishing with stable coins. Those are pretty good rates that you're offering. Even if you're investing in ZAR, I think you'd struggle to make good stable returns like that. So this is really going to be an interesting development for the local market. Callum, we're going to leave it there, and we wish you the very best of luck in your new venture in South Africa. And let's catch up with you in a short while to see how things are going.
Great. Thanks, Kieran. Thanks for your time, and thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for listening to the Moneyweb Crypto Podcast, hosted by Kieran Ryan. To listen to our other podcasts, go to moneyweb.co.za or the Moneyweb app and follow Moneyweb News for daily updates.